Leeds United made the most of their second chance in the European Cup against Stuttgart, the team they say has more foreign reserves than the Bank of England. Leeds won 2-1 in Barcelona in front of a tiny crowd. Their hero was Carl Schutt. He scored the winner less than a minute after coming on as a substitute, and tomorrow's his birthday.
Hello and welcome to another Talking Shut spin-off where I'm joined by Matty to discuss some under-23s news and gossip and see what's been going on. How you doing, Matty? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Thank you for having me on again.
No, it's no worries. I was locked down 2.0 treating you.
All right, just a day in. At least we've had some football to watch this afternoon.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on, but it started well, didn't it?
It did start well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ever since you had a catch up with Gaz, you know, there's been 4 games with kind of mixed results. You know, we've seen a loss to Reading away, a 2-0 win against Norwich at home with a heavily influenced first squad with the first team players, and then, you know, another win at Crystal Palace, and unfortunately a 4-3 loss today. You know, since last catch up with Gaz, who's kind of stood out for you, and what have you seen? You know, going on really?
Yeah, obviously, like you say, a mixed bag of results, but yeah, some good performances. I think Jenkins has caught the eye a lot. Seems to be getting a bit more attention. I remember saying to Gaz before, like, he went under the radar a little bit. But yeah, he's been brilliant so far. He was good today. Obviously, just a shame about the result in the end.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Jenkins is a player that comes up quite a lot with people who do watch like the development football. He's kind of got it all, really. He's exciting in an exciting kind of way, if that makes sense. It's like the Phillips, you know. He's that hard tackler but great passer. Everything seems to come from him. I mean, today, you know, the play, breaking it down in the midfield and spreading it out wide to the likes of Dean and whatnot. You know, I think it's absolutely incredible, and he's got that turn of pace as well. You know, and it's nice to see. And another player, obviously, that everyone's raving about, Gelder. I mean, what a talent he is! But it's not just the talent that he's got; it's the work rate and it's the desire to win the ball back as well. It's that aggression about his game that really gets you excited, and then that end product is like, you know, the cherry on top of the cake, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Gellert's he's so aggressive. It's so good to watch. Like, he got booked today, I think, for a late tackle. Like, there was a couple of times he flew in and ended up getting a booking, but everyone loves that, don't they? I mean, it's Leeds United. You've got to love to tackle. And yeah, Jenkins as well loves a tackle. Like you say, that turn of pace, and he's just such a good passer. Passes forward a lot. Like, he played in that deeper role today, and I think that suits him. With the play in front of him, he can pass forward. He's got more creative players in front of him. There's been a couple of times in the last few games he's got into like attacking positions when he's been playing number 8, and he don't quite have that finishing touch. Like, he's never going to be a goal scorer in midfield, I don't think. I mean, he might prove me wrong, but I think he's better suited to that deeper position. And I was just looking earlier at first team options. Obviously, the ultimate point of the 23s is to have players who can step into the first team. We've seen Marcelo wants to bring players through. Strike started when Phillips has not been available. Shackleton is coming off the bench nearly every game, if not starting. And Jenkins could be next in line. I don't think we're full of options in midfield, the first team. We wanted to bring Cuisance in, obviously, and that fell through, and we never got that midfielder through the door. So I think it's clearly an area Marcelo wants to strengthen.
Yeah,
if you look at Jenkins, he's got to be like next in line nearly. Gotts is out on loan. If Klitsch or Shackleton get injured, for sure you never know what the situation is. I mean, hopefully he gets fit, but it's gone a bit quiet at the minute. Don't know what the situation is, but Jenkins has got to be pushing.
It's an interesting point, that, because you know, Gotts and McAlmont would have been the obvious options.
Yeah,
and quite rightly, they've been sent out on loan to get that game time. So it is interesting to see if we did need, that reinforcement in midfield, who it'd pick. And I think, like you said, Jenkins would be the perfect option. I mean, talking about reinforcements, I know that we're not, or we shouldn't be light on the ground for centre half. Bringing in Llorente, we've got Koch, we've got Cooper, and we've got Stroik. But I have been very impressed with not just the two centre halves, but the back line as a whole. Drama, his one-on-one defending is absolutely incredible. I think, the timing of his tackles and his outlet, the distribution that he's got is incredible. And he's got that pace to burn down the right-hand side. And the two centre halves, obviously Creswell, who we've all, everyone spoke about him, and we've seen him develop for a good number of years now, and he just looks, more and more assured every game. But they play with him and Kenner, who is obviously another player that we need to mention. They play with such maturity. I think they're very, they look like they've had games in a proper football league situation.
Yeah.
And the left back, his name's just completely escaping now. Is it Hudgens? Yeah. Huggins. Again, absolutely outstanding, and similar comparatives to Dallas in the way that he just drives forward. But you see him, picking up spaces all over the pitch, and that. We conceded 4 goals today after being 3-0 up, and it's disappointing. But that back four, there's so much promise. It's exciting. And then, like you say, you've got Jenkins in front. I mean, you had quite a lot to say about Noah Kenner when we were chatting through the week. He was like the worst kept secret at Ellen Road, really, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah.
He signed a contract on his 17th birthday back in January, and he's already training with England, and he's been in and around that setup for quite some time now, training above his age. When did you first encounter Noah Kenner, and what have you seen from him so far? Is he a centre half? Or because when we were chatting again, I normally had him in that Calvin role. Is he a centre half or is he a deep midfielder?
Well, I've seen him play centre half. I think he even played right back for a while for England.
Okay.
But I always saw him as a midfielder. But I think against Crystal Palace he came in and played centre half, and he was brilliant. And it just shows. I think they clearly see him as a centre half because Casey was in that starting 11. Casey has always been a centre half. Kenner has always been a midfielder, and now it seems to have switched. So clearly, either Mark or Marcelo Bielsa sees that as his position. So it'd be interesting to see how long he stays there. But yeah, next to Creswell, I don't think you can ask for anyone better to kind of talk you through a game. You could hear on the game today because the cameras are so close to the pitch, and in those 23s games, you can hear all the talking. And Cres is such a good talker, like you said about the maturity. I've met Kenner and Creswell both a few times, and they both speak really well. You can tell they both understand the game. They both think like footballers. It might sound like a daft thing to say, but some of those young lads can be quite shy. Cres is a great talker, great leader, and a great captain. So next to Kenner, can see it being a good partnership.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm trying to watch as much of the 23s as I can. Obviously, with work commitments, it's a little bit difficult. But the same names pop up. Obviously, you've got Geldart that's popping up as we've mentioned, Creswell, Drama as well. Another one, Sam Greenwood, who we'll come on to in a minute. But Kenner's always been in and around those conversations. I mean, I'm led to believe, I don't know about you as well, but there was quite a lot of interest in Kenner before he signed the pro deal. There were a lot of kids, clubs around him, and it's nice to see that we're attracting these players to stay with us, for the pro terms, and like the Hoods, we've been able to bring Greenwood and Geldart in to reinforce that. Onto Greenwood, he came back today into the squad after a 3 or 4 week absence from the squad.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks. I think he just come back ahead of schedule as well. I think it was believed to be like closer to 6 weeks. So yeah, they've done well to get him back in.
Was it ankle surgery he's received, isn't it?
Yeah, he had surgery on his ankle.
Yeah. I mean, tough game for him to impact. Really, they were flying in the first half. It's not like he had, like you say, Jacko in his ear saying, "Go on and affect the game," because as far as I was concerned, I don't know about you, the game was already done, really. But coming before that injury, he'd had his England call up. He got Premier League 2 Player of the Month, scoring what were it 5 goals in 4 appearances?
Yeah, 5 and 4. Yeah.
So we were absolutely flying, and it was great to see him back in the squad along with Somerville. But a tough game for him to really make a difference in today. Do you think? I mean, there didn't seem to be much options for him, in the game. I feel like it was a midfield battle, and it often favoured Newcastle in the second half, especially.
Yeah, it did just in the second half. It just got away from Leeds in the second half. I think they seemed to get, just from a fan's point of view, just watching the game, I thought they looked really nervous in the second half. They, even from 3-1 up, they started giving away fouls. Like, I think Kenny gave a couple away. Greenwood himself gave a couple away when he came on. Just a couple of fouls, and that just led to the game slipping away from them. They gave Newcastle possession back too easy, and they just seemed to look really nervous at 3-1 up, which is obviously a strange one. But yeah, and then unfortunately, as soon as they got the equaliser, I think there was only going to be one winner, and obviously it's come in stoppage time, which is gutting. But there's lessons to be learned. Obviously, tough one for Greenwood to come back into, and Somerville as well, because you put two attacking players on when I'm like those two will have needed game time. I think that'll have been a pre-planned substitution, something that Mark Jackson's had to do, whether no matter what the score is.
Yeah.
Put Somerville and Greenwood on, and it just didn't help. It weren't the right situation for them. Obviously, good minutes for them both to get in after being injured. So, just looking ahead now, those two back in the mix is obviously a big boost for the 23s.
Absolutely. I mean, two completely talented players. Somerville's attacking ability is outstanding. He's so comfortable on the ball, and his end product's pretty decent, to be fair. I mean, he's had games in the top tier in Dutch football, so it's not going to be shoddy. But his defensive work's what impresses me the most. He gets back so well, and he's so tough in a tackle. Obviously you see a common theme there. I mentioned that quite a lot, but he really is. Like as a winger, is kind of perfect for the way we play. He's got an unbelievable touch, dribbling ability, and product, but it's that defensive part of the game that not all wingers enjoy doing. You look at Jack Aronson in the first team in his first season, it wasn't something that he was particularly comfortable doing, but throughout his time in the second and into the third season, he's absolutely flying, and it's down to that contribution. And again, with Greenwood, not just his open play contributions and his speed, his pace is an absolute asset. But his dead ball, in dead ball situations, his ability to whip a ball in and even finish. We've seen him hit a free kick in top bins as well. We've got weapons in all areas in the 23s, and it's really good to see that style of play is consistent throughout the youth ranks. We've seen today Creswell, and I know you probably see it week in week out, but pinging balls over out wide to the wingers, and Jenkins doing the same, and it's unbelievable to see just like how parallel the styles are, really, and how well structured and coached both teams are.
Yeah, it's freaky sometimes. Like you see patterns of play, and you just like, I'm sure I've seen the first team do exactly that before. Like just so many likenesses. I mean, Creswell loves that diagonal pass to the wingers. You see Cooper do that a lot, and Cock now as well. Huggins, just a right-footed left back driving forward. It's just exactly like Dallas. There's so many likenesses, and obviously it fills you with a lot of confidence. Like we've just been saying about Jenkins potentially stepping up. You think any of those players can step up because they're just used to the way they play?
I'd agree with that. Style. I think Huggins is a player that I've heard of, obviously, but not really seen much of. And watching him today and a couple of times before at left back, am I right in thinking he were a winger before he moved to left back?
Yeah, he was a left winger. Yeah.
Yeah, so seeing him and seeing how comfortable he is there, it's just like I say, it's a credit to the coaching staff really, and how well they coach the players in the system. Because let's be honest, playing in the system that a Leeds United team playing, it's not simple. It's not as straightforward as what a normal setup would be. And it's good to see that there's a good crop of players in each squad. The first team and the 23s, and I'm sure down in the 80s as well, who are willing to learn. And you can definitely see that, and there's definitely that camaraderie within the squad. It's always, every time you watch a first team game or a 23s game, you get that sense of that tight knit unit. And it's really it's impressive to see. But yeah, Huggins is a player that obviously I've heard of and I've not seen much of, and I would like genuinely impressed today. Along with McCarron playing in front of him, who obviously scored the 2 goals today, coming back from injury. Do you know much of McCarron? I know he was signed from Carlisle, as we were saying, but have you seen much of him really?
To be honest, today I think this is the first time I've seen him live. It was seems like a bit of a forgotten man. But McKinstry's played out on that left wing a lot this season, and I actually think that's McKinstry's best position.
Yeah.
But McCarron out there today, he's probably going to keep that spot now, and rightly so after today. Just gives them a bit more balance. They don't have, just off the top of my head, I don't think they have many left-footed players. Like Gelhart's left-footed, and McCarron is. And other than that, I'm pretty sure they're the only 2 left-footed players in the team today, because obviously Huggins at left back is right-footed.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure everyone else is right-footed. So it's just about balance. I mean, Leif Davis came on against Crystal Palace, and just being able to cross the ball from deep, not having to check back and cross it just gives you a different dimension, and that helped today with McCarron. I think just the areas that he could get into and it fall to his left foot straight away. There was one chance at the start of the second half where Gelhardt sort of like flicked it through, and it was just on the half volley, and ended up winning a corner. It was a chance for his hat trick, but just them types of situations you get into, and just being left footed just helps. So it gave him a lot more balance today, and it's a bit like a new signing, really, coming back from injury and coming straight in, and that's another thing to be excited about. Seeing a bit more of Liam McCarron.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we keep mentioning Gelhardt, and I mean, he gets enough credit as it is, but just when you watch him play, you can tell that he's played men's football. You can tell he's playing first team football. But credit to him, he's got an absolutely unbelievable attitude, because he could have definitely got a move into the Championship where he'd been playing first team football and earning decent money, and making a career for himself. But he's taken that time to move to Leeds and play with the 23s and really shine. And I think I heard the commentary say that there was talks from Bielsa, saying that he's quite close to the first team squad, which doesn't surprise you really, does it?
No,
just with how well he started. And do you see him stepping up this year to make any cameo appearances for the first team?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, you look at that number 10 position. Pablo's never going to be able to play 90 minutes, I don't think, in the Premier League. Roberts is not quite cutting it for me at the minute. Rodrigo having to self-isolate at the minute. There's going to be chances there, I'm sure. And why not throw him in? He's been excellent. He's, like you say, you can just tell he's played men's football. He was up against Saive in the Newcastle midfield today, who's £5 million Senegal international.
Yeah.
Bit of a forgotten man at Newcastle. I know he's not a first teamer really, but well, he is. He's a £5 million player. I think he's 30 years old. Like, he's an established professional footballer. Gelhardt gave him a run around today in that first half. He couldn't get near him. Like, I'm sure Saive was looking at him at some point, thinking, like, who is this kid just running rings around me? But he's clearly got a good head on his shoulders. He's 18. Must have a good family around him, a good age, and just good people around him, because he's made the right choice, really, coming here. He's sacrificed, like you say, probably a bit of cash and maybe a spot at a Championship club to come and learn. So it's a good sign straight away that he wanted to come here.
And again, you see them relationships building between the players. We've talked about Creswell and Kenner, but between kind of Jenkins, Gelhardt, and Greenwood, there's it's like obviously a spine, really. You see Jenkins breaking the lines with that pass straight into Gelhardt's feet a lot. Yeah. Gelhardt does a lot of the dirty work in taking players out with his runs or nutmegging them, like he seems to do quite a lot, and then feed it through to Greenwood. That's spine. So we've talked about flying at the ball that wide and using that as a threat, but there's a threat going down the middle as well, and Geldardt's definitely pivotal to that.
Yeah, he is, and I think we saw signs of it with McCarron today as well. Them two seem to link up quite well at times. For the first goal in particular, Gelhardt won the ball, nutmegged Saive, gave it to McCarron, got it back, got into the byline, and then looked for McCarron again, found him in the box. So I think there was like 4 passes just between those two, and it led to a goal. They've clearly got a good understanding, and we've seen Gelhardt and Greenwood's understanding as well. Them two played together for England as well, so
Yeah.
there's clearly bonds and relationships forming all over the pitch today. Huggins and McCarron as well today down the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all looks good. They're gelling really well.
Yeah, and like you said, talking about England, there's an international break now coming up for the young lads. Creswell and Drama, respectively being called up to the England squad. Creswell with the 19s and Drama with the 20s. No surprise really. They definitely deserve it. And back to the drawing board for kind of 2 weeks of intense training and get ready for, is it West Brom the next game?
I've not looked. You will be right though.
I think it's I've got it up. Yeah, West Brom. So West Brom at Thorpe Arch. But yeah, I mean, again, there's not many clubs who can go watch the first team on a Saturday, but want to watch the 23s as well.
No.
It's like I say, it's just an absolute credit to the club and the coaching staff, and it's exciting. You really do want them to win. I was screaming at telly like I would have get in a Premier League game today. Development football is different. We mentioned it off air a little bit where Jacko's not going to be blessed with that consistency of a squad. There's players going to be picked out and go into the first team. Other players, and as well as being able to give players minutes. Mixing it up a little bit. So there's not that consistency. But whoever fills in whatever position, you always get that solid performance, and it's great to see. And like you say, there's clear steps up for every one of them players in that squad. You can definitely see them making a first team appearance if they're needed, and they're definitely trusted by not only the 23s but above as well, because I do believe that that's heavily influenced by Bielsa and what he believes in really.
Yeah, and you like you say about people taking such an interest in the 23s. We were saying before, weren't we? Like, not a lot of clubs have that. Not many fans of other teams are that bothered about the 23s. Like I was speaking to my mate earlier who's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah,
I was asking him for some tips. I won't embarrass him, but he was. I was asking him what to expect from Newcastle, and he said he didn't have a clue. He said never watched him before. So I mean, there you go. It's just Leeds fans, isn't it? Obviously, so passionate, and the academy's got such a good history of bringing young players through. Obviously, it's a proud part of the club, but it's really strong at the minute, and I think that's a lot down to Bielsa, a lot down to Radrizzani, like investing money into 23s. You're looking at Greenwood, who's I think like £2-3 million signing, Gellart up like nearly $1 million, Drama 600 grand. Like people actually wanting to watch the 23s because they know there's millions of pounds worth of talent in there, and Marcelo is obviously so keen on bringing them through. Shackleton and like Gotts, all these players that have made the first team debut under him, people are interested in seeing who's the next player that Marcelo's going to call up. So obviously we've got a lot of people to thank for bringing us such good standard of 23s football at the minute. So
yeah. I mean, it's so accessible as well, isn't it? It's streamed on YouTube. I mean, obviously the fixtures and the times of the fixtures aren't great for working people, but obviously that can't be helped. But you can go back and watch it, and there's full commentary and everything. It is brilliant. I mean, just off the bat, completely forgot what I was going to say. What lie?
No, it's just great work from the club again, just from everyone at LUTV and just the club in general, making it accessible because they know people care about it. So it's just. Obviously, it's great for fans, great for us all to be able to watch it and then come on here and talk about it. And Gaz mentioned to me last time I'd been on the number of people that had watched it and streamed it on Spotify and everything, and it was like thousands of people. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, as if that many people have listened to me ramble on. But obviously, it shows people care about the 23s, doesn't it? So it's class.
So just before we wrap up, I know that you've paid, a bit of an interest into the players out on loan as well. Is there out that you can kind of tell us really? Not too much detail. I don't expect you to watch the games or anything, but just any what's going on with it? Any decent performances? Any kind of feedback from those really?
Well, yeah, Gotts had to wait a long time for his debut, but he made his debut for Lincoln on Saturday, I think it was. But they did get beat. Then Bogus made his debut last week as well. He got an assist and got in the Spanish second tier team of the week as well. It's not too much to report on Stevens. He's been self-isolating. and then Alfie's been on the bench for Oldham the last couple of games, so having to wait a bit for a bit of game time. But yeah, I'm sure all those experiences are gonna do them well. Like we've mentioned about Gellert and how invaluable it is to be playing men's football, and then going back into the 23 setup, other players can learn from you, and obviously they'll learn from their own experiences as well. So yeah, it's all good for the development.
Absolutely, mate. But yeah, I mean, we'll catch up again in the next few weeks. Obviously, with the international break, it'll probably be a bit longer. But hopefully, we'll get a couple of games played after the international break, and we'll catch up again, mate. So thanks a lot for your time.
No, thank you very much.
No reason, like I said, we'll catch up. We'll catch up again shortly.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, pal.